Hello, welcome to Biology Music School with your music teacher here, Dave Allen. So this is just a little video of an introduction to note values. And the aim is to help you understand the difference between musical notes. Understand the difference between one that looks like this to one that looks like this, perhaps. Understand what this means. And then we're about to look at a piece of music such as this and have a better understanding of how we might go about playing it. Understand its rhythm. Understand how long or short we would hold this first note for, how we would play these notes, what this dot after the chord here means. And I will show some more famous examples like this towards the end of the video, and of course I will show ways of applying all of this knowledge to your everyday piano practice. Sound good? Excellent, let's dive in. Okay, so at first let's look at this note, just a round circle. It's called a semibreve, and it represents 4 beats. So when this note is played in music, it will last for 4 beats. The time it takes to play those 4 beats, however, will depend on the tempo of the piece of music. It could be slow, it could be fast, it could be moderate. So let's look at how this works in practice. Okay, so here is the semibreve in musical note form. In this case, it's on a middle C. It's going to last for 4 beats, as we've discussed. And this first time it's going to play, it's going to be at a reasonably slow tempo of 86 beats per minute, and then we'll play it again at a slightly faster tempo. So here we go. Okay, so now we're going to do exactly the same thing again. It's going to play for 4 beats, but it's going to be playing at a faster tempo of 130 beats per minute. Here we go. Okay, so both examples there demonstrated that the semibreve was representative of 4 beats. Let's move on. Okay, let's look at our next note. This one looks a little bit like a semibreve, but it's got this stem attached to it, and it's called a minim. And it represents 2 beats. So that's half the value of the note we just talked about, the semibreve. So 2 minims you'll need to equal 4 beats, the same as a semibreve. Let's see how this works in practice. Okay, so here we are with our minims in musical note form, and as you can see we've got 2 minims to fill the bar because we need 2 to add up to 4. I've placed them on different pitches just so you can hear a distinguished difference when they transition. Again, we're going to have a 4 beat count in. Here we go. Okay, so let's move on to this note. So black dot with a stem attached to it. It's called a crotchet, and it represents 1 beat. So again, this is half the value of the note we just talked about, the minim. So now if we look at the chart, you're going to need 4 crotchets to make up 4 beats because each crotchet is worth 1 beat. You're going to need 2 minims to add up to 4 because they're worth 2 each, and you only need 1 semibreve to add up to 4 beats because they are worth 4. Okay, so as usual, let's go in and see how we would count crotchet rhythm. Okay, so here are our crotchets in musical note form. Crotchets are worth 1 beat each, so we need 4 of them to fill a bar of 4 beats. So let's have that 4 click count in and hear and see how this works. Here we go. Excellent. Okay, so now let's talk about this note. It looks a little bit like a crotchet, doesn't it? But it's got this little tail attached to it, and it's called a craver. Now these beats represent half a beat. So you're going to need 2 of them to make a crotchet like we just talked about. So again, it's half that value. So altogether, you're going to need 8 of them to fill a bar. So let's just recap. Remember the semibreve is worth 4 beats on its own. Then the minim is worth 2 beats, so you're going to need 2 of them to fill up to 4 beats. Crotchet is worth 1 beat, so you're going to need 4 of them to fill up 4 beats. And then the craver is only worth half a beat, so you're going to need 8 in total to make a bar. So let's see how this works in practice, and we'll talk about how we count half beats also. Okay, so here's the quavers in musical note form, and as we've just discussed, you're going to need 8 of them to fill up a bar, because you're going to need 2 of them to make one beat. So in this case it's just playing a scale of C major in fact, and we will just end by playing a C again lasting for 4 beats. Using what note? Correct, a semibreve. So let's have that 4 click count in and hear what it sounds like. Now, just a point to notice here, how we would count half beats when you're playing it. Beat 1, as you can probably understand, falls here, and beat 2 falls here. Beat 3 falls there, and here is beat 4. These notes, however, are what playing on the half beat. So if we was to count it out, we'll be going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. We'll discuss this a bit more later and certainly in future videos. Okay, so let's just recap what we've learnt so far. From looking at this chart, you can see all of the notes displayed to us here, what they look like, how many beats they last for, and what they are called. It's worth noting the American and German terms for these notes also. So a semibreve can be known as a whole note. We can come down to the minim, so also known as a half note, as you would expect, as it's half the length of a whole note. We come down to the crotchet, worth 1 beat. It can also be a quarter note, because it's quarter of the value of a whole note. And then we've got the craver, worth half a beat, also known as an 8th note. You need 8 of them to fill up to a full whole note. Okay, what some of you may be wondering, where's a note that equals 3 beats? Good question. Now, to answer it, we need to talk a little bit about something called dotted rhythm. So here is a dotted crotchet. As you remember, a crotchet is worth, 1 beat. When you see a dot after any note, doesn't have to just be a crotchet, any note that has a dot placed after it, it makes that note half its value again. So in the case of a crotchet being worth 1 beat, half of 1 is half. So altogether, a dotted crotchet is going to equal 1.5 beats. Let's have a look at another example. We've got a dotted semibreve. A semibreve is worth 4 beats. So with a dot after it, that half its value again, half of 4 is 2. So we're going to be looking for 4 plus 2 equals 6. So a dotted semibreve equals 6 beats in total. Now, here is a minim with a dot after it. What would that equal? The minim's worth 2 beats. The dot makes it half its value again. Well, half of 2 is 1. 2 plus 1 equals 3. And there is our magic number. That is the note that equals 3 beats. And now we can complete the chart. So now you can see you've got your semibreve for 4 beats, your minim for 2 beats, your dotted minim for 3 beats, crotchet for 1 beat, craver for half a beat. And of course you can see the dotted equivalents of the other beats here as well. Your dotted semibreve that we just talked about, your dotted crotchet and a dotted craver as well. Getting a little bit more complicated, but you can see the principle. Okay, excellent. Okay, so let's go through everything we've done so far. So you can see here we've got the semibreve, we've got the minims, we've got the crotchets, we've got the cravers, we've got dotted notes here, we've got these dotted minims, which equal 3 beats. So we're going to play through all these just to hear it all again and to make sure we understand. So let's go with that 4 beat counting. Okay, and now we're going to play the minims. And now let's play the crotchets, all 1 beat each. And now let's play the cravers, half a beat each. And now we'll play the dotted minim rhythm. Okay, excellent. Okay, let's sum up everything we've learned and put it into some kind of context. The piece of music you can see here is a famous song. It's Clocks by Coldplay. Now look at the rhythm here in the right hand. All this eighth note rhythm, 8 quavers to the bar. This is just like we saw earlier when we played the scale using quaver rhythm. It's the same rhythm, it's just that the notes are arranged in a different order that play a tune that we happen to like. Look at the left hand. The chords are just playing 4 beats each, which is symbolised by the semibreve. So, we're going to listen to this song now that we know very well, but now we're going to listen to it with an understanding of why it sounds the way that it does. Okay, we'll finish with this example. It's another famous song. It's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And you can see that it's using a combination of crotchet rhythm and minim rhythm. I've done my own little ending here where I've used 2 minims to fill this bar and then a semibreve to ring out the 4 beats for that last bar there. So, again, let's listen to this with an understanding of why this tune sounds the way it does, because of the notation is indicating the rhythm to be played in the way that it is. Okay, let's go. Okay, that about sums up today's lesson. I hope you've learned something. I hope now you have a better understanding of notes and their values and what they represent. And now as you look at a piece of music like this, the one we looked at the beginning of the video, you may remember, you can look at it now and be like, ah, a minim, lasts for 2 beats. A quaver, half a beat. Crotchet, 1 beat. And I would suggest if you have any music programs like Logic, Ableton, Sibelius, a notation input program, play around with putting notes in and seeing what they sound like. Just get used to it. Practice your scales with a metronome using these different rhythms. Play your C major scale, for example, using semibreve rhythm, then do it in minims, then do it in crotchets, then do it in quavers. It's a great practice. Now that said, I will be making many more videos that go more into depth about counting rhythm, time signatures, and all the rest of it. So hit that subscribe button and you'll get updated with all of this. Well, thank you very much for watching. Have great fun practicing. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.